This video is the notes for homework 6, which is solving system of equations by graphing. So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a system of equations, which means here's one equation, and there's two equations, and we're going to find the slope and y-intercept of both. So if you remember, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So as we look at our first two equations, the slope of my first equation here is the number that's in front of the x, which is a -1. And since we're going to graph, we want that to be a fraction. So I'm going to put it as -1/1. And then my slope, my y-intercept is this number here at the end, -5. And this is where you begin graphing, is at the b. So I am going to start there at -5. And then I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1. So down 1 to the right 1 and make a point, down 1 to the right 1. And if you're doing this on paper, if you don't have a ruler, probably the best thing is to put these dots all the way through the grid. And then my second equation, the slope is the number in front of the x, which is a +1, and I want that to be a fraction, so 1/1. And the y-intercept is a +5, and that's where I want to begin graphing. So I go to my +5 and put a point, and then I'm going to go up 1 to the right 1 because the slope tells me to do that. And so I'm going to continue all the way through my grid. And it is very difficult for me to make straight lines on this, so I am going to put as many points on here as I can. And let's see if I can find a straight line over here. Okay, so here is one of my lines. And I need to have arrows on both ends. And then my second line is here. And again, I need arrows on both ends. And where my lines cross each other is right here. And so that is my solution. And that point happens to be -5, 0. So my solution is -5, 0. Okay, so number 2, my slope is the number right in front of the x, so that's a 3. And because I'm going to graph, I want it to be 3/1. And my y-intercept is actually 0 because I could put a +0 out here. So I start graphing at the 0. And the slope tells me to go up 3 to the right 1. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. Up 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. And then I'll just go backwards. So down 1, 2, 3 to the left 1. down 3 to the left 1, down 3 to the left 1. And then I can draw that line. And then I'm going to move on to my second equation. So the slope for this one is the number in front of the x, which is -3. So again, I need that to be a fraction. So -3/1. And then my b is 6. And I want to start graphing at the 6. So I start at 6. And this tells me I need to go down 3 to the right 1. So down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. Down 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. And I already know where my lines are going to cross. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that line. And so where the point crosses is the solution, which is right here. So that solution is 1, 3. So ordered pair 1, 3. Okay, on number 3, we have to do a little bit more work because these are not solved for y. So I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides of my equal sign, which makes those cancel. And then I have -y equals 3x minus 3. And I cannot have a negative variable. So I need to divide by -1, everything by -1. So that leaves me with positive y equals -3x plus 3. So my slope is -3, which I want that as a fraction, and my b is a positive 3. So when I go to graph this one, I'm going to start graphing at the positive 3. And I'm going to go down 3 to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1, and draw that line. And then I move to the second equation. Oops, I don't want to be on the line. Okay, move to my second equation, so I'm going to kind of separate that. Okay, so this time I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of the equal sign. So now I have -y equals, because that cancels, -3x minus 9. I cannot have a negative variable, so I'm going to divide by -1 everything. So now I have positive y equals positive 3x plus 9. So my slope is 3, and I want that as a fraction, so positive 3 over positive 1, and my b is a 9. So we'll start graphing at the 9. And my slope tells me to go up 3, but I would be off the grid, so I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go down 3 to the left 1, down 3 to the left 1, and now I have my line. And it's kind of difficult to tell on mine, but the point where they cross, which is the solution, is right here. So that is -1, 6. So my solution is an ordered pair of -1, 6. Okay, on number 4, you'll notice this one just has an x equals. So when there is just an x equals, that is going to be a vertical line. All vertical lines have a slope of undefined, and they do not have y-intercepts. We still can graph them, we just cannot graph them on the y-intercept. So I have to go to the x-intercept, the x-axis, and find the +3, and I'm going to make a vertical line. Okay, and then my y equals 2. We do not have an x. Y equals without an x in it is a horizontal line, and a slope of a horizontal line is always 0, and the y-intercept is always whatever that number is. So on the y-axis, I find the +2, and then I'm going to have a horizontal line. And so where those two cross is the solution. So right here. And that solution should be 3, 2. So number 5, these are already solved for y. The slope of my first equation is 1, and the y-intercept is -2. So I'm going to start at the -2, and I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and draw my line. And then on this equation, my slope is 1, and my y-intercept is 1. So I start at the 1. I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and then I'll draw my line. And you will notice that my lines will never cross. So when they do not cross, their solution is no solution. And those lines are what we call parallel lines. So on number 6, sometimes you'll have an equation that's already solved for y. So all you have to do is pick out the slope, -3, and the y-intercept of 2. So I'll start at the 2, and I'll go down 3 to the right, to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1, and draw my line. And now this one we have to solve for y because it isn't solved for y yet. So I have to do -3x on both sides of the equal sign. And those cancel, so I get y equals -3x plus 4. So my slope is -3. My b is +4. So starting at the +4, going down 1, 2, 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. So what you'll notice is that these lines are not going to cross. They're super close together, but they're not going to cross. And it's kind of difficult to draw, but I'm going to try to do the best I can here. Okay, they're supposed to be straight and they're not supposed to touch. So when that happens, again, just another example of a no solution. Those lines are parallel. They will never cross. So on number 7, both of these have to be solved for y. So this one I'm going to add 3x to both sides of the equal sign. Those cancel. So now I have y equals positive 3x plus 2. So my slope is 3. The y-intercept is 2. So I'll start at the 2. Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. And so I then will draw my line. And then we'll solve the second equation. So I need to divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. So now I have y equals 3x plus 2. Slope is 3. The y-intercept is 2. So I begin graphing at the 2. I go up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. And now you will notice that it is the exact same line. So when we have the exact same line, our answer is infinitely many solutions.